Strawberry shortcakes all share cake or a biscuit, strawberries, and cream as their key components. I started by showing you the basics, a classic farmhouse strawberry shortcake. Then I advanced the technique and made a strawberries and cream sponge cake. This is a British-inspired version. Now it's time to up the ante and make the showcase dessert, a Fraser Torte. This is a French-inspired version of strawberry shortcake. And it starts with the mousse. It's gelatin-based, so I'll measure out a half a cup of cool water and then add to that 2 tablespoons of powdered gelatin. You have to give the gelatin a few minutes to sit in the water and soften up. That makes it dissolve into hot liquid easier. And it only takes a couple minutes for it to soften up. I've got here 2 egg whites, so I'll just whip these until they're foamy, just to loosen them up because I have to add hot sugar to them after I cook a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/3 of a cup of sugar together. I'll bring this to a full rolling boil until it reads 240 on a candy thermometer. 240 is considered softball stage, and so at that point, sugar actually thickens up, and once it cools, that lends some of the set to the strawberry mousse. There we go. Bring this over to the mixer and add it while mixing on medium speed, pouring it down the side of the bowl. While it's still hot, I want to add the softened gelatin so that can dissolve into the mixture. And I'll keep mixing it until it cools down to room temperature. And there we go. That's all the time it takes for it to cool down. In the fridge is a bit of strawberry puree and some whipped cream. This is just fresh strawberries pureed and then strained to take out all the seeds. I'll measure 2 cups of the strawberry puree. Now, for a puree like this, you can use frozen strawberries, thawed and then strained. And I'll use a whisk to incorporate it quickly and smoothly. And you'll feel the mousse start to thicken up because the cold puree is now cooling the gelatin. And now it's time to add, of course, that key element of strawberry shortcake, the whipped cream. This is a 1.5 cups that's been whipped to a soft peak. And just as with the classic farmhouse, a little vanilla, just a couple teaspoons. I use my spatula to fold in the whipped cream. All right, that's ready to use. Now it's time for the cake portion. And I'm using that same beautiful sponge cake that I made for the British version of the strawberry shortcake, except I cut the entire recipe in half, so it's half the height. I actually want to use a springform pan to shape and mold the cake, but I'll use a clean one. The nice thing about a good sponge cake recipe is you can make it ahead of time. If you find, though, that it is a little dried around the edges, you can bring it back to life by brushing it with simple syrup. Equal parts sugar and water boiled together, and while the syrup is still warm, you brush it on the surface of the cake. It soaks into the cake and it springs back to life as if it was freshly baked. But since this just came out of the oven and cooled, we're ready to assemble. I start with 2 cups of strawberries. I really want to show off the strawberries in a more formal fashion. So my strawberries are hulled with a flat side, then cut in half, and this is the side that I'm going to show off on the outside of the cake, placing the strawberries on the inside of the pan on top of the sponge. Give the strawberries a nice little press up against the side of the pan. We want to be able to see the strawberries when we unveil the cake. So here is this creamy, beautiful fresh strawberry mousse layer to go right on top. And I'll just spread it to cover completely over the strawberries. So now this has to set, to let the gelatin set in place, and it takes about 4 hours. So this is a great make-ahead dessert. And I have a Fraser Torte already chilled, ready to be unveiled. Put your palette knife right down the side, run it around the inside edge, and lift up. And there they are, all those beautiful strawberries formally presented. A few fresh berries right on top, just to show you that beautiful interior. Cut in between the strawberries if you can, but it is so elegant. You've got the strawberries in the back waiting for you, and just that simple, light, fresh strawberry flavor, the creaminess, and the light sponge.